Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Been a little while since I've done something like this for you all, so thought I'd at least get something sent your way because we're kind of at a big spot, right? Currently, not only, of course, do we have the exam now, so the first midterm being available this week, and then addition to that, the midterm is at the midterm. We're halfway through this damn class already, if you can believe that. I've still got a little vertigo from that thought, but it's neither here nor there. So I'll try to keep this extremely brief. I just had a couple things that I wanted to touch on, a couple things I wanted to go back to and re-emphasize and explain a little bit, because I've been getting lots and lots of messages from folks. Because as promised, if you remember from my first video, I'm like, there's going to be a lot of confusion about this stuff. And ta-da. So, in the spirit of keeping this short, so let's talk about the exam quickly. This should be reasonably straightforward. You know, there's some explanation, description, study materials, that sort of stuff. That's of course all available in our Canvas shell. It is constructed like I'm certain you're accustomed to these in mostly online courses, of course. So it's exclusively multiple choice. It is embedded within Canvas itself, and then of course we have the proctoring piece, which I'll speak to in just one second. In terms of the content, so 50 multiple choice questions. They should look extraordinarily familiar, by which I mean, you know, in terms of going through the study guides, going through the book and the exercises within MindTap and that sort of a thing. All of those should be very much convergent in the way of the sort of things that you're going to find on the exam. I know what it's like. The first exam in any course is kind of a mystery, no matter how much sort of description and explanation and instruction you can kind of receive, until you dive in and pop out the other side. I mean, that's really the only way you get to really truly know. So it's very generic in the sense that it shouldn't feel much different than stuff that you're probably very accustomed to. But that being said, of course, if you have questions, if you want any guidance, if etc., you know where to find me. The proctoring piece, I believe I got a message sent possibly yesterday to you all. So I'm trying to get in, and I know that the link, the thing that I've been using as the sort of practice quiz for Proctorio, just so that people could verify that it worked on their machine and get a little bit of familiarity. I'm trying to get that corrected and placed back up there for any of you who at this point aren't familiar with Proctorio or have a new computer or something that you need to verify. I know I've said it before, but you do have to, of course, use Chrome as the browser. For some reason, that's still the case. So, as I say, I'm trying to get that link put back up there. I contacted Proctorio so that they can hopefully help in getting all that stuff, because when it comes to technology, not my thing. Okay. It is set. I think it should be set for virtually infinite time. I think it's set at nearly 2 hours long, and being that it is like all these other exams that I keep alluding to, 9 times out of 10, when I look at the stats and all the results, almost everybody is done with it in 20 some minutes, less than a half of an hour. So there should be plenty of time, I hope, for you to be able to take it. I always kind of joking, but not really, remind classes, I'm like, you don't get anything for being the fastest one done. Like when teaching in person, there was always that person that they looked so proud of themselves to be the first one done in like 15 minutes and first one to put it on the desk and to head out. And there's not much of a correlation between performance on the exam and being the first one done. So for what it's worth, I'm just saying, the way that it's set up, if you're reading a question, oh my God, I'm having a tip of the tongue moment, or I'm not quite understanding the wording, whatever, you have time. I know many people dislike the proctoring piece. I don't like no one in their right mind likes the proctoring piece, right? But this is us making the best of the situation that we're in. So if you're one of those two that feels, that has some anxieties, gets stressed out with exams, period, which is a significant number of people, but that proctoring piece, I know it brings an additional kind of stressor to the situation. And so that's where, I guess, just in the hall of ideas and advice and that sort of a thing, if it does create anxiety for you, if it ramps up the glucocorticoids and the stress hormone and this sort of a thing, like, you got time. Like, chill out, take a step back, do some meditation or some mindfulness, or do whatever you got to do. But skip those questions, come back to them, right? This is stuff that we know from neuroscience and cognitive science, that as you read whatever question number 7, you're thinking it through, you can't quite put your finger on why it would be this versus that answer. Move on, because when you're on to that next question and you're consciously trying to work through this next piece, you're still processing that other information in other regions. We all know what this is like, right? You're having a conversation with somebody. I can't remember. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. And you move on in the conversation, and then 4 minutes later you go, Keith Richards! Fucking Keith Richards. That's what it was. I don't know why that was my example, but you know what I'm talking about. So, again, that's where I guess, encourage you as you're doing the exam. Don't feel rushed. You're not rushed. Don't push yourself to get it done as quickly as possible unless you really have to pee or something like that. So I know, very professional advice I give. So, okay, enough on that front. I hope that stuff is clear about the exam. As I said, if it is not, or if there's things I'm not touching on, just let me know, and I'll try to get that to you. A next bit. Okay, Mind Tap. This is where, if you saw and remember my initial sort of intro video to the course, and I really tried to emphasize this point, like, this part gets confusing. This part is a pain in the ass, and was trying to clarify on that front. And I mean, it has been, for some of you, it's been smooth as can be, easy peasy, all along the way. For others, it's been a bumpy ride, and I still, a lot of questions, a lot of confusion around that. So let me try to clear up as best I can anything surrounding the Mind Tap work at this point. So number 1, first reminder about the Mind Tap work and that kind of a thing. I know that we've listed, as I said, right out of the gates, it's listed, okay, these are due this Sunday, these are due this Sunday, these are due this Sunday. And that those due dates are really like the mileposts of where, like, this is where we sort of collectively as a course are at. And if you are trying to keep like on schedule and moving through things sort of at the right pace and these kinds of things, those show you, right? Like, if you're getting those things in on time and all of that, that means you're right where you need to be, you're right on schedule and all of that. But as I said then, and remind you now, those due dates are not like hard due dates in the traditional sense of, if you don't have that in by 11:59 on Sunday, you're out of luck, or I'm going to start deducting points, or anything like that. It is not the case. So many of you have had infinite number of things. I've had all kinds of things coming up too. Family situations, illnesses, work situations, right? Fill in the blank. We all have all these things going on. And so if you find yourself getting behind on Mind Tap, or you missed some that were maybe from a couple weeks back, those things are not lost, right? Absolutely not lost. You can go back and do those at any time. They don't have to be in at that particular time on that particular day. And so that those due dates they're a nice structure from which we can understand the layout and the schedule of the course, but you're not getting penalized. You're not going to miss anything. And then the other piece I again really want to emphasize, because I feel like this also got lost in the noise, a reminder that the only things in MindTap that actually count towards our grade are the comprehension checks and the chapter tests, I believe they're called, or the quiz. I think they call them the tests. It's just the thing at the end of each chapter that's multiple choice and has you go through those questions. I bear definite responsibility for the fact that this, I told you right out of the gates, again, at the beginning of the term, that this was kind of confusing because there's these other exercises that you can do. There are lab quizzes and video quizzes and mastery training, and there's all these other moving parts in the course. And even though I tried to be very, very clear and explicit, like those are optional, 100% optional, they are not graded. I leave them available to everybody because that's what they're there for. I want you to have all the resources and exercises and things available to you if you choose to do those. But the part where I bear responsibility, and I do apologize for this, I'm sorry, it was an oversight on my part. I went in at the very beginning of the term the way I normally do and tried to start getting MindTap set up so that it would be consistent and that with everything that I've been telling you. And I did the first handfuls of chapters because I was in that frenetic rush of I just had to get all of my courses published and out to you guys at the beginning of the term. And so what I did was went into MindTap, and for the first like handfuls of chapters made sure that only the comprehension checks and only the chapter tests said counts towards grade. And then I went into all those other ones and tried to make sure that they at least said, you know, doesn't count towards grade or optional or whatever the hell it says. But the problem was I only did those first handfuls of chapters because my idea was I have to get these courses published. I got to have all of my courses published and everything else. So I will come back into MindTap and get those things taken care of before we embark that deep into the term. And as you have surely noticed in being in MindTap, that got well-intentioned, but got lost on a back burner with about 8 gazillion different other things that I just utterly, completely forgot about. So again, that's on me, and I'm sorry about that. Things are confusing and challenging and stressful enough without me adding additional layers that bring that to you. So know I'm at least aware of that. I suck. Okay. That's probably, I think, enough here. The discussion forums, you know, I've been getting to a few of those at this point and getting back to you all. Again, like that's the one part of the course. That's the only fun part of most of this for me. It's mostly emails and grading and all these things. So the discussion forums are the one place where I really get to go in to this topic, which is like my heartthrob, the thing I love the most in the world. I wish we were all in a classroom and we could be doing these and having these conversations and back and forth. And so for better or worse, the discussion forums kind of serve as my only real connection to you as an individual. And so I absolutely love the hell out of reading what you guys write, what you find interesting, the perspectives that you bring, examples, how it relates to stuff. I love it. And so I'm going to be be getting in there and getting more of those sort of graded and responding and that as much as I can in the midst of all this craziness. But I guess just for what it's worth, I would say, you know, keep up the great work. I love it. I love hearing your ideas and all the perspectives and everything that you're bringing to these topics, because this is my bread and butter, baby. This is the stuff I love. All right. Oh, and then the last one. Bing, almost forgot. It wasn't supposed to have already been published, but again, add it to our list of things that didn't go exactly the way that they were sort of supposed to. The extra credit option you've probably seen in our Canvas shell as well. That usually wouldn't be published until right after this first midterm, and you'll see why when you, or if you choose to use that option. It's very much designed to be after the midterm and then be able to kind of come back and readdress retrospectively in a way on the stuff that we have covered over the course of the first half of this class. So I would tell you, hey, it will be published and blah, blah, blah. No, it's already there. And I can send you a little bit more explanation, because why would I make that easy? Nothing else is, I'm not making anything else easy, so why the hell make that easy? It's not that the extra credit itself is difficult, more it's just trying to kind of explain how the point structure works. I give some explanation there, so if you read the instructions in that, it will sort of explain it, but I don't want to spend a bunch of time here, but you can pick up a lot of extra credit there, depending upon how you perform on the midterm will dictate how much of that is sort of available to you. So I'll leave it at that for now, because we'll cross that bridge soon enough. We've got bigger fish to fry with the exam and all of that. So, okay, this is already 15 minutes long. That's more than enough talking to you. So I'll leave it at that. I hope that this, again, is helpful. As always, please let me know with questions, concerns, issues, clarifications, all that good stuff. I'm over here on this end of a computer, so you know where to find me in that department. Happy studies and best wishes going into the midterm. I hope that you find it to be unsurprising and reasonably comfortable. And this sort of thing. And then lastly, again, I apologize for the confusion with the MindTap stuff and just the comprehension checks, just the chapter tests. That's it. And my bad for not getting those other pieces updated for you along the way. So, all right. Take care, everybody. I hope you and yours are doing well, and we shall talk soon. Cheers.